sustained rainfall in Gauteng has caused widespread flooding. In December, a fire in Alexandra Township razed more than 500 structures. So we're asking a number of questions today. Has the community been able to rebuild their homes during this time, or has the rainfall over the past few days hampered those operations? To give us an update, we're joined now by Johannesburg Emergency Services spokesperson Robert Mulaudzi. Thanks very much for coming in, as always, Robert.
Morning, Michelle, and morning to the viewers.
I mean, let's perhaps just start off with the excessive rains that we've seen over the past few days. That must make things incredibly hard in your line of work.
Yes, it has been difficult for us. We have been on high alert because you'll understand that our city has got about 189 informal settlements. They vary. Most of those informal settlements are mostly in our low-lying areas. So it means when we have wet weather conditions like the ones we have been having, so our residents in those areas will be the ones which will be affected. So what we have done is that we dispatch our disaster management officials in all 7 regions of the city to monitor those areas, to make sure that if there is any need for us to evacuate people, we can be able to do that. Because in those areas, what we have done proactively, so we have install what we call automatic rainfall systems. So over and above the information we get from the South African Weather Service, these kind of devices assist us to disseminate information to those areas. Like, for instance, in the area like Sweta, we do have that kind of a device in the area which assists us to be able to disseminate information.
Are you saying that's in the river?
No, it's just outside, in the area of Sweta. So over and above the training we conduct, like our community-based training, where we train our communities to use like things like whistles to be able to evacuate when there's an emergency. Because we try and make sure that our communities are trained in terms of evacuation procedures, any life and educational programs, to try and make sure that they've got the necessary skills to deal with emergencies. When they do happen, they can be able to manage them.
I'm thinking particularly of Alexandra Township, particularly that area right on the River.
The Stretla area, yes.
Because that's where people build their informal settlements, their informal structures, literally on the banks of the River. So how did things unfold there over the past few days?
Actually, on 2 days ago, I was there with your colleague. We actually looking at the water levels in the area, talking to our residents there to make sure that they monitor the water levels. We're happy that we haven't received any reports in that area.
That's so surprising, isn't it? Right?
Yes, So maybe we need to commend that to our public education efforts, because in the service we've got men and women who are strictly dealing with our public educational programs on a day-to-day basis to try and make sure that our communities are informed about the dangers of building in those areas like that, flood line like that. So it's not only that area. I mean, we've got area like Kliptown in Soweto, which is like right across the Klip Valley River stream, which is most of the time when we have wet weather conditions like this one, you'll find out that most of the households will get flooded. So we're happy that we didn't have any incident which was reported. However, we're still on high alert because now that our streams are the water levels are much more higher, it means that we are likely to have more incidents of maybe drowning incidents, especially the young ones, because they might be tempted now to go play next to these areas. So our message to our parents, adults out there is to make sure that they look after the young ones, to stay away from this river stream, so that we can be able to prevent a drowning incident. Since now it's still holidays, we need to make sure that we look after them so that we prevent those incidents which might occur going forward.
Absolutely. I mean, it was a really difficult way for many people around the country to start off the year with flooding around the Gauteng area. And then also those people in Alexandra ending off 2018 on such a heartbreaking note with that massive fire that swept through the informal settlement. What do you know about how the rebuild there has gone?
The rebuilding has gone well. Most of them, they managed to rebuild their shacks. Now, what happened is that there were, over the weekend when I went there with your colleague, there were some areas which were reported flood, because remember that area mostly is a low-lying area. So those incidents, we managed to deal with them. But in terms of the people who were affected just before the end of the year, when we came into the new year, the rebuilding process went very well. We're happy that they managed to rebuilding their shacks, and they can be able to continue with their lives from the beginning of the year now going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as always, thanks very much for coming into studio. Robert Mulaudzi
Thank you very much.
Is from Johannesburg Emergency Management Services.